can log in using your telephone as well. There is a dial-in number and access code that you have to provide if you join using your telephone. I would strongly recommend you join using the telephone for the audio. That's much more clear, and you won't get disrupted in any case, even if your internet loses bandwidth or something. All right, so once again, welcome everybody on board. We all have attended one session, and we all now know what a project is. Anybody has any questions on what a project is? Everybody knows what a project is? Or feel free to stop me anytime during the course of the session, and I'll be glad to assist you with any questions that you might have. Like I said in the previous session, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create any particular result. The result could be a product, a service, or any result, all right? So we also know that every project is temporary in nature. No project goes on forever, If there is a project, there is definitely a start date and an end date. Projects are usually split into phases: the initiation phase, planning and design phase, execution phase, monitoring and controlling phase, and closing phase. And these apply for any types of project, be it a civil project or electrical project, a mechanical project, a software development project, or a construction project. Whatever type of project, they can be managed by splitting them into multiple phases, and every project, be it any field or any domain, is temporary in nature and has a definite start date and a definite end date. All right. And we also saw, the various reasons for which projects could be initiated in the previous session. Project could be initiated to cater to market demand. Projects are initiated to enhance the existing technological, to advance technologically within the organization. Projects are initiated to improve the existing processes and procedures, automate stuff so that there could be reduction in manual intervention and increase in the quality of the existing processes and procedures. To come up with a new product to comply with regulation and create a competitive edge. If there is something that you have which your competitor does not have, then definitely you're doing good business, because consumers might be attracted towards you. You might have, that might help you create a new customer base. So every project are initiated in some way or other, to help the sponsor to reduce cost, increase revenue, or increase efficiency, or ensure transparency. And we also looked at what operations are. We all now know that operations are day-to-day activities. Most of the time they are the actual business of the particular organization, and they help achieve the organization's strategic objectives. Although temporary in nature, projects are also aimed at achieving the organization's strategic objectives. Maybe, organization would have 1-year objective, or a 2-year plan, or a 5-year plan, or a 20-year plan. So operations and projects most of the time are aligned towards the organization's strategic objectives and ensure that the organization is able to achieve them very quickly, or at least move in that direction. Operations require business process management skills or operations management and projects require PM skills to manage projects. Okay? Any questions on what operations are, what projects are, what are the relationship or what are the differences between operations and projects?
No, we are good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Any questions, anybody else? Feel free to, speak in the class. I would love it to be a, interactive session rather than just me talking here. Share your experiences. Feel free to stop me and give examples or something that you know about the topic. Okay. So we looked at what a project is. Now let's have a quick look at what would be the role of a project manager in a project. How many of you have worked on projects and worked, maybe, at least closely with a project manager, or if not closely, have worked on a project where there has been a project manager? Don't look at the slide. I mean, you can share your experience. Is there anybody who has worked on a project here?
Yes, I did.
Go ahead, Rajni. So what kind of project was it?
It was a government organization for deployment, which is supposed to deploy funds to various DFSS, Family and Social Security Support Systems. So they are supposed, they have a big fund, the DFSS. It's from Chicago City organization, and they are supposed to deploy that money for usage of various underprivileged moms and dads, so that they can go over for extra studies or extra job in the evenings, and they get support from this organization in the form of child daycare center fee and stuff. So I did work in one of their modules.
Fantastic. So what was the, you must have seen your project manager.
Yes,
what was the role he was playing in the project team?
First thing was he was making sure the project, whatever upgrades we are working on is going smoothly. Secondly, he was in constant touch with all the clients or the end users, because we already deployed one version of the software we developed, and they were using it, and he was in constant touch with each and every end user and up. The directors from the client side, I mean, whether is there any other goals to be done? I mean, what you call the benchmarks to be reached, rather apart from what has been set. So, because it's a government organization, it was this little disarrayed project. Otherwise, usually usually all the requirements will be mapped before the start of the project and when it is being under development. But here he was doing the development. I would say it's kind of a different type of project where the development was going on at the same time the analysis was going on, both. So yeah, I was in touch with the project manager, definitely. So he was in direct contact with what expenditure is being incurred with all this new stuff coming up, and so on. Yeah.
Fantastic. So what I understand is your project manager was constantly in touch with the various stakeholders.
Yes.
With the team, and you also said is interfacing with all the team members constantly. Is that what you said?
Yes, exactly.
Yep. All right. So was he a technical person or was he a non-technical person?
He was a non-technical project manager.
He was a
And
non-technical.
yes, I was working for him, collecting various requirements from client side, and also in communicating with the development team, the technical development team. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Rajani.
No.
Anybody else who has worked, with a project manager or in a project where there was a project manager and you have an idea on what a project manager does? Sandra? Sandra? Roja? You were all on mute, so maybe you're talking and we are not hearing you. So if you're talking, you have to unmute yourself.
Looks like they're all unmuted.
Yeah, I don't know. Guys, it's sometimes even difficult for me to understand if you're in the call or not. Yeah, that's like, okay. Anybody else who wants to talk? Who knows what a project manager does? Daniel?
Oh, Manjusha wrote here. I don't know.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah,
Manjusha wrote here.
Okay, estimating the time required, the required time, resource, and money to accomplish. That's a very good point. Estimating time, resource, and budget to accomplish the project. That's a very good point. Daniel, you were saying something?
And also human resources. He will take care of human resources also. Required.
Fantastic. Very good point. Very good point. Human resource, time, and money. And Daniel, you were saying something?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. All right. So just checking, Broja and Sondra, are you hearing me at all? You don't have to answer the question of the project manager, but are you hearing me? Oh, yeah. Okay. Finally, something from Roja. And Sandra, are you at least hearing me? All right. So a project manager is considered to be the face of the project. The project manager has the authority to execute the project in whatever fashion that seems right to him or her. And if the project is a success, the project manager is appreciated. If the project is a failure, the project manager is the one who gets fired. So a project manager is in charge of all the activities in a project. The project manager's primary role is to interface with all the stakeholders and team members and ensure that the project team is doing the right thing to ensure that the project is a success. Project managers take care of 9 areas in a project. If you have a paper and a pen, please note down what I'm saying, or I'll give you 30 seconds. It's better to write down what I'm saying. Get your paper and pen so you can note down what I'm saying. And everybody, please be on mute while I'm talking. I'll give you some time so you can be ready with your notepad or paper and pen, whatever. Hold on, I see on the chat window Sandra has finally spoken. All right. So, the project manager takes care of 9 different areas or knowledge areas on a project. Okay. So, number 1 being integration. There are multiple teams working on a project. There are certain projects that might involve different teams. Like, let's say the database might be Oracle, so there might be an Oracle team. There might be a .NET team working on the development. There might be for instance, a mainframe team working on a piece of the project. So most of the time, not necessarily a project manager is technical. Okay, in most cases we see that huge projects are a combination of different technologies, and it's not really required that a project manager knows all the technologies. Okay, so sometimes there are technical project managers too, but it's not a requirement. It's not a pre-requirement that project managers should understand technology. They take care of 9 knowledge areas within a project. Number 1 being integration management. So the project manager serves as an interface between different team members, different teams. These might be teams that are working on different technologies, located in different locations, whatever. But so and also the project manager pulls together different phases of the project. So the area of integration management is handled by the project manager, the one who puts different things together and puts together different pieces of the puzzle. Time management. The project manager prepares a schedule, ensures that all the activities are covered, all the activities that are to be carried out for the successful completion of the project are covered, and there are timelines against each activities. So that's time management, compiling all the activities to be completed in a project, putting them all together in a schedule, and assigning resources to every activity. That's time management. And then comes cost management. The project manager would prepare a schedule, prepare a budget for the project. The project manager would identify how much it would cost for completing all the activities of the project and come up with a number that he or she would present to the senior management. So the project manager is in charge of the budget for the project. So we looked at integration management, time management, and cost management. Quality, every project has its own quality requirements. Let's say, just to make you understand, let's take an example of a 5-star hotel, okay? And there are 2 constructions happening. One is a 5-star hotel, and the other one is a budget hotel, okay? So the quality of the 5-star hotel might be far ahead of the quality of the budget hotel that we are talking about, okay? But in terms of a project, is determined by the requirements versus what was accomplished, okay? You do not look at a 5-star hotel and say, hey, this hotel has better quality than the budget hotel when it comes to, managing a project. What was the quality requirement that was requested by the customer before the beginning of the project versus what was achieved after completion of the project is compared. let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, the customer wanted certain stuff during the beginning of the five-star hotel project. And by the end of the project, we realized that we were able to achieve only 95 or 90, let's say 90 of the 100 quality requirements. And then in the budget hotel, there was a different project manager who was executing this project. And out of the 100 quality requirements requested by the customer, they were able to achieve all the 100. We would say the quality of the budget hotel is better compared to the five-star hotel. Quality is not calculated by what we achieve as an output, but quality is determined by what the customer requested during the beginning of the project and how much were we able to achieve in terms of satisfying those quality requirements. So how many of you are confused now?
I am good.
You go. Okay. Others? Sounds like everybody else is confused.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Awesome. Is that Daniel?
That's Kofi.
Hey, Kofi. Okay. Great. So anybody else who did not understand that? Hey, Roja and Sandra, I'm actually curious to hear your voice. Do you mind unmuting yourself and saying, hey, I understood?
Yeah, I wasn't here actually that time, sorry.
No worries, no worries. Sandra? All right. Okay. So we looked at integration management, time management, cost management, and quality management, human resource. The project manager manages all the human resources working on the project. The project manager assigns or delegates activities to different team members and ensures that all the team members are working to their capacity or delivering the best. And sometimes there are dependencies between different teams or different resources. All those are taken care of, and if there are any conflicts within the team members, the project manager would be the person to resolve these conflicts and ensure that there is, good collaboration within the team and everybody is performing to their best. And then comes communication. Communication management. I told you that a project manager is in charge of the project. He or she does so many activities in talking to stakeholders, in talking to customers, in talking to end users, in talking to the project team, in talking to various other parties that are involved in the project. So, according to the Project Management Institute, the project manager, what does the project manager does communication 90% of their time. 90% of a project manager's time is spent on communication. It is not on human resource management, it is not on time management, it is not on cost management, but 90% of a project manager's time is spent on communication. All right? Okay. So the next item is risk management. The project manager ensures that all the risks in a project are identified appropriately at an earlier stage of the project, and the mitigation plans or risk elimination plans are in place. Just a few questions, just to know that you're all understanding me and we're all on the same page. Anybody knows who a stakeholder is?
Owner of this project.
Owner of the project, all right. Anybody else?
Yeah, a stakeholder is anybody or any group of people that the organization activities affect. The decisions of the organization affect them.
Awesome. So Daniel, you said anybody that is directly or indirectly impacted by the project. That's the best answer that you can get for a stakeholder, and that's exactly what PMI states. A stakeholder could be any individual or any group of individuals that are directly or indirectly impacted by the project. It could be the sponsor, whoever is spending money on the project. It could be the project manager. It could be the project management team. It could be the project team members. It could be any other department heads that have to provide inputs to the project, or it could be any other department heads that are going to use the final product. It could be any government agency or government authorities that might have to provide approval for the project. So who is a stakeholder? Anybody that can influence the project, or anybody that could impact the project, or anybody that could be influenced or be impacted by the project. It's either way. It could be either way. They can either be able to, let's say, you're building a dam in a particular region. The common public would be stakeholders, because this definitely has an impact on their life. Or you might need construction laborers from that particular region. So if you do not have a good influence in that region, then maybe your project could not take off. So anybody or everybody that can be influenced or impacted directly or indirectly by your project, and anybody and everybody who can impact your project directly or indirectly would be a stakeholder. All right. So the next question is, there you go, a person with an interest or concern in something, especially a business. That's right. So if you're in a particular business and you're trying to make it better, enhance your project, enhance your business through a project, anybody who has an influence would certainly be a stakeholder. The next question is, Manju, this question is for you. What is risk? Manju? Risk is sorry. I'm just joking. Shweta? Shweta? Shweta?
Yeah, risk is something which is, hello, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Hello?
Go ahead, Shweta, you're doing fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, something which is going to harm a project, or if there is a loss in the project, if they have some budget for certain, certain budget allotted to the project, and if they don't do some risk mitigation, then and there is a loss associated with that, so that will be like a risk later on. So they need to overcome that beforehand. Before starting the project, they need to do some risk mitigation calculations. So
Interesting. Now, let's come out of the project mode. In real life, what do you think is how would you consider risk? What is risk in real life?
I think I would attempt to define risk as any deviation from the project result is risk. So revenue deviation from expected revenue is risk. Anything that impacts the expected revenue is risk. That is any activity, any effect on the expected result of the project is risk.
I would say unforeseen situation of the project is a risk. Risk management or an aspect to be taken care of or to be addressed to. Like in my previous projects, I have seen the risk was technical point of view. I really don't know what how much risk there was involved regarding financially, the revenue wise, but I have seen the technical risk was there, which wasn't very much expected, like load on the system and stuff. So I would say in short, unforeseen situation to be addressed immediately of a project.
Absolutely. Any other answers? Fantastic. Any other answers? Roja, the question was, what is risk according to you? What do you know about risk? Hey guys, this is actually boring to me if you're not talking. It's not fun, when somebody is asking a question, it's basic respect. You got to respond back, right? It's basic respect. I mean, if I'm asking you a question, you open your mouth and speak back. All right, I'll leave it to you to talk or not talk. People with respect, please talk back to me. Okay.
I think one more thing, like it is like a probability, because risk is something which is not certain. So it is like a probability of some negative occurrence which can come at the end of the project or during the project.
Absolutely, absolutely. So risk is uncertainty, you take a chance. You do not know what could be the end result. So sometimes you're working on a certain project and there is a risk of certain things happening or not happening, and that could happen in real life as well. So risk is uncertain events for which we do not have answers. The result of a risk could be risk could be something as a opportunity or a threat. So if the risk happens, there might be a possibility of something going wrong, or something might turn out good if you take that risk. So you never know, and hence it is called a risk. Okay? So obviously in a project, there are many risks, and a project manager is in charge of understanding or predicting all those risks beforehand and ensuring that there is a risk mitigation or a risk elimination plan in place to ensure that that does not pull the project down. Okay? So like I said, the end result of a risk could be an opportunity or a threat. If it is a threat, the project manager has to ensure that it does not happen. If it is an opportunity that is an end result, the project manager might want to have some mitigation plans in place so that just in case if it doesn't work as per expectation, So let's say like this, if a particular team is completing their work on Feb 2015, and then there is a next team that has to use the output of team A as an input to begin their activities. Now, there is always the risk of team A not completing their activities on 28th of February 2015. Sorry. Now, does it mean he does not arrange team B to be ready to start their work on March 1st, 2015? No. So, if the team is ready, it means you got to spend, you got to pay them. So the project manager has to ensure that the risk of team A not completing their activities is mitigated through weekly checkpoints, and also ensuring that team B should be available on March 1, just in case team A finishes on 28th. Okay, so this is just a very small example, but I hope you understand the concept. And we spoke about, we are talking about different activities that a project manager manages in a project. So, hey, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question. Now, in a situation that the opportunities of a risk gives rise to one team exploiting the opportunity to complete their project ahead of time. If this is a contiguous kind of project, don't you think if the project is not synchronized, then of course, there could be a lapse in between where project team B will not be able to pick up the project, so it becomes more or less a loss in the process, because project team B, in their calculated time, which is their early start, does not fall within the latest, end time or completion of of project A, which is the preceding project. And so, in exploiting the opportunity, it could give rise to what? A loss. And so, as you are saying, this has to be mitigated so that it could all come within the early start of the succeeding project or the latest completion of the preceding project.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a project manager looks at different situations and identifies how that situation could be handled, how that risk could be mitigated, or sometimes just transferred. In some cases, let's say there is always, we'll take the risk of resource availability. Key man dependency is a huge risk. If there is one particular resource that is working on a particular area all by himself or herself, and there is no knowledge sharing, only resource A has information on a particular section of the project, that's a key man dependency risk. So, this could be mitigated by allocating somebody else to work on that section along with resource A, so that there is some knowledge transfer that happens. In some cases, let's say you are a huge manufacturing unit, you're building a new product. There is always a risk of, fire or an earthquake and all your product being burnt. So in these cases, the risk is being deferred by claiming insurance. There is always a loss, possibility that all your data might be lost and you would be back to zero. So you create a, project location B, which is far away from your existing project location, and all your data is synced and stored in two locations. So there are various risks that are categorized into different sections, and, accordingly you either mitigate your risk or you defer your risk by passing on the risk to somebody else by taking an insurance or something like that, or you just exploit the risk. In some cases, if you just exploit the risk, if you're willing to take a chance, maybe there is an opportunity more than a threat. Okay. So,
yeah.
So in some cases, you exploit the risk by taking chance. but the project manager would ensure that the senior manager is informed about it. They all agree to it, and you know, that's why I told you that project manager is communicating 90% of the time, talking to different stakeholders, ensuring that everybody is on the same page, ensuring that there is no conflicts. All right. So, yeah, we talked about time, cost, quality, HR, risk, and procurement management. So anything that has to be, you know, in a project, usually there are decisions on, you know, bought outs or make or buy decisions are made during the beginning of the project. So what are the things that you're going to deliver, and how many of those are going to be made in-house, or how many of those are going to be bought from the market? So let's say yours is a project where you supply computers along with the software to your customer. Now maybe you just want to work on the software. You are not interested in, you know, building computers, so you might just want to buy those computers from the market. So make or buy decisions are made, and organizations might have policies on buying. You know, some organizations might have a procurement department that takes care of all the purchases. Organizations might have specific vendors, you know, that are usually contacted for buying assets for an organization. So in some organizations, there might not be a separate procurement department. The project managers usually take care of procurement. So depending on your project and depending on the organization's processes or procedures, you know, procurement management within a project is handled by project managers. With that, I guess you kind of understand what is the role of a project and a project manager. To sum it up again, you know, the project manager is accountable for the delivery of the project. He or she is accountable for each and every activity within a project. If the project is not successful, the first person to be fired is a project manager, because they are responsible for the successful delivery of the project. Be it resource or schedule or cost or budget or quality or procurement or HR or risk or communication, every single aspect of the project is run by the project manager. Again, the project manager might not get into the details of every aspect of the project, but they might have an overview of every single piece of the project. All right. Okay. Now having looked at the basics on what operations are, what projects are, what a project manager does in a project, now let us get into what we are all interested in. Okay, and that's business analysis. Business analysis is the set of tasks, knowledge, and techniques required to identify business needs and determine solutions to business problems. The most boring line I've ever heard, but that's all right. So let's not look at the screen and let's discuss about it. I'm sure everybody knows about business analysis to a certain extent. Let us hear what your views are. You know, don't get influenced by what others say. Just tell us one by one. Let's start with Daniel. Let's hear what you know about business analysis, because obviously, and believe me, it would be very interesting to hear that every single of you would have a different answer on what business analysis is. It would be fun to hear what everybody knows about business analysis, and that's okay, because business analysis is not the same everywhere. It varies from organization to organization. So let us now try and understand what people know about business analysis. Let's start with Daniel.
Okay, my understanding about business analysis, or who a business analyst is, someone who looks at the requirements of a project and also work hand in hand with the quality assurance people.
Can you rephrase it and be a little more detailed, Daniel? Don't worry about what the internet says. Just tell me what you know about business analysis.
Yeah, I was saying that my understanding about who a business analyst is that it's someone who works hand in hand with the quality assurance people, does the testers, those who does the testing, and also he is in charge of looking at the requirements of the project, the requirements of the project.
Okay.
To whether the projects meet them.
Okay, so according to Daniel, a business analyst is a person who is in charge of the requirements in a project. All right, let's hear the next answer from Quaker.
Yeah, Kofi.
Hey, Kofi.
Yes. I think a business analyst in an organization is tasked with undertaking a review of the day-to-day processes or the operations of the business. So his task could be looking into purchases and then developing.
Looking into what? Looking into what?
Purchases, the buying procedure. Buying procedure of the organization, and then determining whether there has to be a purchasing manual so that everybody knows what exactly has to be done in a bid to procure for the organizations.
Okay.
Again, a business analyst looking at IT would determine the business needs of the organization. That is, how does IT enhance the business, and then come out with efficiencies as to how the organization can optimize the use of information technology in its process. So they are different, but at the end of the day, you do not have to be an expert. Yours is to look and understand the overall operational needs of the organization and come out with processes that will, enhance the efficiency of the day-to-day business.
Awesome. So your answer, I'm just summing it up, is that a business analyst looks at the various processes and procedures in an organization, takes care of procurement, and also looks at various, business needs for IT projects. Fantastic. Now, each and every point you said is correct. So like I said, we would hear different things from different people on what business analysis is, and they may all be right. Every single point is correct. Thank you, Kofi. Manju?
Thank you.
Manju?
Manju wrote already something.
Oh, okay. Okay. Identifying the present process of the business and how to improve the present process and to the extent of highest satisfaction of stakeholders. Excellent. So a business analyst looks at various processes within an organization and provides recommendation to the senior management on how these processes could be improved. That's a good answer.
I would say the business analysis is tracking a tool to keep track of all the requirements from the business side and communicating with the development side. And from the development side, for further feedback from the stakeholders or the end users, back and forth. So business analysis is basically the documenting of all these things, so that nothing is lost in this in due course of process of development of the project.
Fantastic. So Rajni's answer is that a business analyst would serve as a liaison or an interface between the business users and the technology team and ensure that all the requirements are captured and nothing slips through the gaps. That's a good answer, Rajni. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roja?
Yeah. So as a business analyst is like here let's define the project and identify its scope, and as a business analyst act as a liaison between the business team and the technical team, so they can come up with a solution, and business analyst identify the solution and verify that the proposed solution meets the requirement.
Awesome. Fantastic answer. So a business analyst serves as a liaison between the business team and the technology team and also proposes solutions to business problems. So a business analyst is performing this particular role who can, kind of be a consultant and propose solutions. Fantastic. Thanks, Roja. Shweta?
Hi. A business analyst, I would say, he's like an agent for change. So basically, he determines the need for a change in an organization, and he bridges the gap between the technical, aspect or technology of that organization and how it can be improved so that they can deliver the maximum value to their stakeholders.
Excellent. Agent of change and interface / liaison point between business and technology team. Fantastic. So all your answers are correct. I'm actually getting a feeling that this is a very educated team here. Not to make fun of anybody, but believe me, I've heard answers like, "Hey, I've just completed my master's, and everybody told me this job gives me a lot of money, so I'm here." So, but all of you are having some insight into what business analysis is all about. And like I said, all your answers are correct. A business analyst performs different roles within different organizations under different contexts. Let's take a quick 10 minutes break. I am from the Mountain Time Zone. It's 7/7 my time. So let's come back at 7:17, or let's not be too dramatic. Let's make it a 7:20. So it would be 8:20 Central Time, 9:20 Eastern Time. Let's come back again and continue the session.
If I am not here at that time, Vijay, is there any possibility that you can send me the recording of just that part from 8:20, if at all I am not here? Because I'm seeing the session is being recorded here.
It's being recorded because a couple of them were unable to join the session today. I usually do not record only when there are, some unforeseen sessions like this where people are really unable to join. Then I record those sessions. No worries on that.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot. I just need that part, not this one. I wrote down everything possible, but from 8:20 onwards, if at all I'm not here.
Sure. No worries.
Thank you. We'll be here at 8:20.
First look at the processes, procedures that are being followed within the particular organization. and in this case, it is the bank. So having looked at the various options and also looks at various options to resolve the existing business problem. So the business analyst would perform some research on the existing processes, options available, and what would be the best option that would suit that particular organization. So in the case we're just talking about, there are three options. One is increase the number of tellers within a branch. Option number two, come up with a new servicing branch within the same locality, so the customer crowd would be split or divided among the branches. Number three would be to come up with an automated teller machine. But then again, the senior management would not be very interested to look at things if there is no concrete information. I mean, let's say we are talking about installing an ATM machine in a time where there is no ATM machine in any banks. I'm talking about this case 20 years back. So it sounds really crazy if somebody told you 20 years back that, hey, you know what, we're going to buy a new machine, load it with cash, and leave it on the street open 24 hours so customers could walk, and authenticate their credentials and withdraw cash at any point of time. So, I mean, now this means you're opening your customer data to a machine and leaving it on the street. There's a huge risk that, number one, people could vandalize the machine and loot the cash, right? Or, number two, there could be miscreants that could try to get all the customer information from the machine, and you are now open because you're putting these machines on the street. So there's a huge risk here. So a business analyst would look at various options, identify all the risks involved, and how these risks are being managed, and present a decent business case to the senior management so they can make an informed decision on how they can resolve the existing problem. Like I said, in this case, the existing business problem is a huge crowd that piles up in the branch during peak hours. Customers are having to wait for 30 to 45 minutes to perform simple transactions like withdrawal or deposit of cash. So a business analyst would
Excuse me, Vijay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Vijay, in looking at this definition of the function of a business analyst, do we not think that the business analyst also has to take into account the cost implications of whatever proposal and research that is undertaken on a particular problem, to table it to management? Because at the end of the day, if there is even at all an exigent business need, but the costs in undertaking that approach to resolving that business need is far outweighs the benefit. Is it not possible that it's going to be thrown overboard?
Right. No, what you just mentioned is absolutely correct. So like I said, when the business analyst presents the various options to the senior management, it would be inclusive of various factors like risk, cost involved. I was telling you, maybe the cost of hiring a couple of tellers would have a certain dollar value. Going with a new additional branch would have a certain dollar value. Setting up an ATM machine might have a certain dollar value. It might be expensive for implementing a new machine like that, but in the long run, the maintenance cost is pretty low. Whereas if you hire a new employee, you initially not only spend on hiring the employee, but then you got to pay them on a continuous basis, right? So the options that the business analyst presents to the senior management is very exhaustive. The information is very exhaustive, and the senior management looks at the various information piled together by the business analyst and makes an informed decision. Okay, so that's part A of business analysis. And now let's say the senior management, the business owners or the senior management, they chose to go with the ATM option. Then, now they would go with trying to get a quote from different technology organizations and try to evaluate whom they can issue the project to. Let's say companies like IBM or HP bid for this ATM project. And let's say IBM, got through. So IBM is going to install an ATM machine for this particular bank. Okay? So IBM would now have a technology team. Remember what I told you about projects. Each and every project is unique. Each and every project is different from other projects. They may all look similar, but each and every project is different to build. Have you ever seen two identical ATM machines? No. You go look at Citibank's ATM, it would have a white background, it would have different options. It would be a combination of white and blue color. It would have different options compared to what the ATM machine of Bank of America has. Now, Bank of America has a red background or screen. It has different options compared to what options Citibank provides. Yeah, I do agree. Most of the ATMs serve the same purpose. They're used for cash withdrawals, sometimes fund transfers, and sometimes cash deposits. So yeah, so the basic function remains the same, but each and every organization is different from one another. Although they are in the same business, they might have different products that are, that might have its own advantages or disadvantages compared to their competitors. So now IBM has an ATM is all set to supply an ATM machine for the bank that we talked about, right? And they would like to understand what are the options this particular bank wants. They have a technology team that has software engineers, software testers, and software configuration management engineers, project managers, and so on, who are very good in programming, all right, but not so good when it comes to their understanding of the existing processes and procedures of this particular bank. Like I said, every organization is different. So first, they have to understand what this bank is trying to implement, what they would like to see on their ATM machines, what are the different options that they would like to have, what are the different options that they would not like to have, So what they would do is hire a business analyst and send him or her to the client location to understand what this particular bank is expecting to be available on the ATM machine. So a business analyst on the project side, so remember, there is an existing business, there is an existing process, there are existing possibilities of improvement in the processes and procedures. So the business analyst on the operations side might be involved in a lot of analysis activities, a lot of research activities, and a lot of liaison with the senior management and the bank operations team, and ensure that, not the bank, I said the operations team, and ensure that they understand the existing processes and procedures, document the existing processes and procedures, look for process improvement, look for change in the organizational way of operating, and look at options where system development could improve the existing processes or improve the efficiency of the organization. That's the main role of this particular business analyst working on the operations side. Now, we are looking at business analyst B, who has recently joined IBM and is starting off his or her career as a business analyst. Let's say this person is a junior business analyst, does not have much experience on IT projects, is out of college, has done a few jobs here and there, and then maybe with 2 or 3 years of experience, has taken over this role as a business analyst for IBM. Now, this business analyst role is to go and understand the requirements of Bank A. This particular business analyst knows nothing about banking. This particular business analyst knows how to document requirements, knows how to use a little bit of, knows how to use Visio, has a basic understanding of how SDLC works, has a basic understanding of some of the common terminologies used in the IT world, but has no idea about how this particular bank works, no idea about banking. So what would this business analyst do? This business analyst would go talk to different stakeholders on the bank side and try to understand what they want. Okay, week 1, the language might look very difficult. We call it as progressive elaboration. The first week, the business analyst does not understand any of the jargon, the banking jargon, so finds it a little difficult. Week 2, now they have heard a few words over and over again. They understand a little bit of what's happening. Week 3, they slowly start compiling what they hear from different stakeholders and start writing down whatever they gather. And, with time, the business analyst is able to understand the processes and procedures of this particular client, understand their business, understand what their requirement is, and then, with time, knows in and out of this particular client. And then documents everything, and then takes it back to the technology team and says, hey, you know what? This is their requirement. Now, the technology team, like I said, they're all experts in Java or Oracle or mainframe or any other software language, but they are not domain specialists. They do not know the different banking criteria and what this particular business user wants. So now the business analyst who is onboarded onto the project during the initial stages of the project has a fair knowledge on the customer's business, and what their requirements are for this particular project. All right?
Yeah.
So now the business analyst is able to talk to business jargon and then explain those stuff to the technology team. The technology team tries to understand what is the requirement of this client so that they can, develop the product. The designers can design the software. The software engineers or the developers or programmers could write the code so that the software performs the exact requirement as specified by the business. So, with time, the business analyst slowly understands the functional aspects and also, in some discussions, slowly now starts hearing a few technology jargons. Not necessarily that a business analyst should catch up, but with time, a business analyst would also start understanding some of the technical jargon. And that's why you must remember me saying during the previous class that a business analyst is the person who has a 360-degree career option. A business analyst could choose if they would like to become a domain specialist or a techno-functional analyst or a business analyst specialist, or work closely with the project manager and choose a project management career. So the options available for a career path of a business analyst is much more compared to any other professions within IT.
Sure.
All right. So now let's look at this definition. Business analysis is the set of tasks, knowledge, and techniques required to identify business needs and determine solutions to business problems. Doesn't sound very, very difficult as it looked like before, isn't it? Solutions often include systems development component, process improvement, or organizational change. Any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead. I'm glad you are asking.
Yeah, my question is the difference between a business analyst and a system analyst. Like from your example that you were giving, if IBM, why would IBM employ a business analyst but not a system analyst?
That's a beautiful question. I got you. I know what you're saying. So, in order to understand that, you have to understand the SDLC, or the software development life cycle. But that's something we are covering in the next session. So I'll give a quick explanation. Okay, a business analyst is somebody who would understand the business requirements and document the business requirements. The deliverables of a business analyst would be business requirement documents or functional requirements documents. Now, somebody has to look at these business requirements and write down how these could be built in the software or in the application. So based on each and every business requirement, let's say for the ATM example, we have about 1,500 business requirements. Business requirements could be, very detailed, like the screen of the ATM should be 13-inch diagonally. There should be keys 1 through 9 and 0, and a green color enter key and a red color cancel button. Users should be able to insert their ATM card and validate their credentials. And then you would have a sub-requirement. You would explain how users would validate their credentials using a PIN. It should be 4 numeric characters, number 1. Number 2, if the user changes the PIN key, they should choose a new one that has not been used in the past 5 times. So these are detailed requirements. So in order to achieve these business requirements, what should be built in the system? Now that's called a system requirement specification or a system requirement document. A technical person who understands the system would write this particular requirement document the system requirement document or the system requirement specification, and they are called as system analysts. In some cases, there are people who transition from, like I said, business analysis is a job that attracts people from various backgrounds. Sometimes a software developer who has worked on Oracle or mainframe or Java or .NET for, let's say, 5 or 6 years would like to become a business analyst. They could apply for business analyst jobs, provided they know how to, they know some of the business analysis tools and techniques. When I say tools, I'm talking about Visio, I'm talking about rational, I'm talking about techniques like requirement solicitation techniques, understanding of the SDLC, good communication skills, good presentation skills, good stakeholder convincing skills, negotiation skills, facilitation skills. Provided.
And mainly the business, maybe understanding of business.
Yeah. So that's a plus, I would say. When I was explaining this particular example, I was explaining about what is progressive elaboration. There are projects where, really complex projects where the expectation is that the business analyst should have a certain domain knowledge. But then there are projects where if you have business analysis skills, you're okay. Where you don't really need the domain knowledge, but you're fine if you have the business analysis skills. So, coming back to the story, so now in this case, a software developer or a test engineer that would like to transition as a business analyst is a technical person. So their technical skills could be utilized. They could perform the role of a system analyst. They could look at the business requirements and convert them into system requirements. Point number one. Point number two, there are projects where there are lower budgets. They cannot afford to have a business analyst and a system analyst. So they would look for a combination of business analysis and system analysis skill set. They would look for business systems analyst or a technical business analyst who's capable of working in a techno-functional role. So during the initial phases of the project, the business analyst, the technical business analyst, or the business systems analyst would go to client place, understand their business requirements, and document them. Then once the business requirements are agreed and approved by all the required stakeholders, they would write system requirement specification. Now again, these are rare skill sets. Don't be overwhelmed when you look at job portals and see business systems analysts, roles that are being posted. I know a lot of people ask this question to me. Hey, Vijay, I know business analysis, but then I look at some of the job portals, they're all asking for technical business analysts or business systems analysts. Now, if you are a techie, that's an advantage. Now, if you're not, don't be worried, because most of the time, these roles are closed. They make this compromise saying that, hey, we don't get them in the market. It's nice if you get them, but it's not a skill set that you get all the time. So it's a try by organizations looking for BSAs and technical business analysts. Systems analysts, yes, most of the time they would be lucky, because there are a lot of techies who are willing to transition into system analysis and become a system analyst, so that they can techies can start off as a system analyst and then learn some of the business analysis skills and become a BSA. Does that clarify, Daniel?
Yeah, yeah, understand now.
I have a doubt with it. Here it says the business analysis is required to identify business needs is okay, but determine solutions too. Is it a part of business analysis, or is it the analyst will do to determine the solutions to business problems? I didn't understand it.
Sorry, can you say that again? Somehow I'm just pushing my earphones into my ears, still not getting it clearly.
No, here, if you look at the business analysis, the main, whatever the definition is given here, it says, identify business needs, I'm okay till that point, but after that, determine solutions to business problems, is it also done by a business analyst, or I didn't understand that.
Okay, so while you are not here, I was explaining about operations and projects, and what would be the role of a BA working in operations, and what would be the role of a BA working on projects. Predominantly, a BA working in operations would be performing an enterprise analysis role, identifying looking at some of the business problems, like in our example. Let's say you have business problem, overcrowded branches. Now, we're looking at options to resolve this. A business analyst would be given this job to look at this existing problem and come up with ways to resolve this. I mean, a business analyst would not be doing this all by himself or herself. They would be talking to various people, and then, let's say in this case, there would be 3 options presented by the business analyst. Option number 1, increase the number of tellers. Option number 2, come up with an additional branch. Option number 3, come up with an ATM machine.
Oh, right.
So when you look at solution, it is not coming up with a technical solution, but a solution for the business problem. Does that clarify?
Yes, I got it.
Awesome. Any other question on what is business analysis and what a business analyst does in operations or in projects? All right. So with that, I'll give a homework for the day. The homework that you should complete while coming for the next class would be to go to different job portals like DICE or Career Builder or Indeed and find out at least 2 different job descriptions for the job descriptions I'm going to say now. So if you do not have a paper or pen, or if you are not having your notepad ready in front of you, please make yourself ready to note down what I'm saying. I'll give you half a minute to get yourself set. Please let me know once you are ready to note down what I'm saying. You can type on the chat window that you are ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Rajni is ready. Roja is ready. Shweta is ready. Daniel and Kofi.
Yes,
Daniel's ready.
Already.
Awesome. So the job descriptions, go to all these portals and do a research on different of some of these job descriptions that I'm going to give you now. Number 1, business analyst. So go to all these portals, find 2 different job descriptions for number 1, a business analyst. Number 2, business systems analyst. Number 2 was business systems analyst. Number 3, requirements analyst. Number 4, functional analyst. The next one is systems analyst. The next one is business intelligence analyst. And the next one being business operations analyst. Yeah, that's all I have. So basically, just rechecking business analyst, business systems analyst, functional analyst, requirements analyst, business intelligence analyst, business operations analyst. That's all I can think of.
Each category, 2 requirements, Vijay?
Yeah. Each of these, prepare 2 different job descriptions for all of these roles. Put it in a Word document. So let's say page 1 of your Word document would have the job description for business analyst. Page 2 would have a different job description for a business analyst. Page 3 would have the job description for a business systems analyst. Page 4, a different job description for a business systems analyst, and so on for requirements analyst, functional analyst, systems analyst, and business intelligence, business operations analyst, and get this done on a Word document, and let's have a quick look at what you all have during the beginning of the next session.
Okay, please, the last part 1, the business intelligence. It's BI, business intelligence analyst.
Sorry, say that again?
Yeah, I'm asking of the last one. Is it business intelligence?
Business operations analyst.
Operations.
Yeah. Business intelligence analyst and business operations analyst.
Okay. I have a question for you. Yeah, my question is, what is enterprise analysis?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be covering that in the next session. So the business analysis body of knowledge by the International Institute of Business Analysis says, or rather divides business analysis profession into various knowledge areas that you're now seeing on my screen. Okay.
Yeah.
So enterprise analysis is a key knowledge area within the business analysis profession, and we would be discussing that in detail in the next session.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
I'm good.
All right. So if you have no more questions, we'll close the class for the day, or rather for the night. And let's catch up again on Friday. Please be on time to the class, and let's start the session sharp 8 p.m. on Friday. Thank you very much. Appreciate your presence here. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, Vijay.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Hi, Singaram. Singaram, you there with us? Singaram, can you hear me? Bye, Daniel. Thanks, Munju.